The first article of the Constitution declares Belarusian independence. In Yerevan, Armenia today, President Petrosyan officially started his term. This is a storage place of ancient Armenian manuscripts. This is where Petrosyan, the current president, used to work before he became a president. And documents from this storage place will be used in the inauguration ceremony. The director of the center passed on an ancient Bible in Armenian, over 1,000 years old, to the parliamentarians. The Bible was 1,300 years old. It will be used in the parliamentary building for the presidential oath. I swear to guarantee the independence and democracy and constitution and the laws of Armenia, to protect the security and the rights of its citizens. The first Armenian president was blessed by the Armenian Patriarch. Petrosyan had made a speech afterwards. The president made a speech and took off for a brief international trip. Tbilisi, Georgia. Georgian government officials were offended by decisions reached by the Third Conference of the Caucasus Mountain Peoples at a conference in Sukhumi. The Georgian government declared this conference illegal because of the participation of Ossetian and Abkhazian delegates. And the government document also noted numerous anti-Georgian, anti-Russian and anti-Georgian tendencies at the conference in Sukhumi by the mountain peoples. The head of the Afghan opposition delegation noted that their talks with the Vice President of Russia, Rutskoy, were positive. The talks are difficult, and there is much disagreement between the two parties. In part, their talks concern the fate of the current government in Kabul, and also the President Najibullah of Afghanistan. But most important is the fact that both sides were ready to discuss these issues. The head of the Afghan delegation called the talks very positive, constructive. A major issue was Soviet POWs and MIAs in Afghanistan. The head of the delegation noted that the Soviet POWs are being treated well and do not want to return to the Soviet Union. He passed on a letter to relatives of Soviet POWs living in the USSR. POW mothers demand to see their sons, and they expressed regret that the release of these prisoners, they claim, is tied to political demands. One of which is that the Soviet government renounces its ties with the Kabul government, with the current government in Kabul, and that the Soviet government is to accept the official status of the Afghan freedom fighters' position. The second round of these talks will continue on Wednesday. Hard currency and issues of hard currency was discussed at the Committee of National Economy Management. The Soviet Union's foreign debt today is 48 billion rubles in hard currency. The Soviet Union is owed 94 billion rubles. The results were spoken of by the head of the committee, Ivan Silayev, who noted that the committee discussed ways to get rid of the debt. Silayev also noted that the committee members expressed a need for an organ which would coordinate debt and currency issues in the USSR. And also noted that this committee might be joined by foreign experts. The Russian Market Bank, Commodities Market Bank, issued a 5,000 ruble certificate in coin form. This would commemorate that this operation is conducted in hard currency. This is a new form of currency in a sense. It could speed up economic transactions, and it could relieve the pressure on the printing presses, which are endlessly printing paper money in the USSR. This coin can be used by anybody. There's massive ruble deflation currently, and it's hard to catch up with it. Dollar is being sold for 110 rubles at the currency market. The point is that we do not have many factors which can help the ruble. It's the chairman of the Russian Market Bank. We want to increase the exchange of rubles and dollars on their markets. There's not enough organization, and few people have access to ruble, to hard currency. Yes, that's true. That most the exchange rate is often based on commercial bank rates. If we just auction rubles and hard currency at commercial banks, then we could just expand the number of organizations who will gain hard currency through the use of these auctions. So you believe that the exchange rate will go lower with your auctions, with your ruble auctions? So a dollar costs approximately 110 Soviet rubles. Today in Lithuania, free market prices have been established for food. We do not know what price hikes this will lead to, but it's expected that milk prices will rise by 25%, and the most popular bread varieties, the price will increase by 100%. Wages will also be raised, pensions also, and stipends. But will these wage hikes be enough to keep up with the prices, with the free market prices established for food today in Lithuania? Romania today. This is the last Eastern European nation, except us, of course, to introduce convertible money. Today, there was introduced a unified official rate of exchange, and enterprises having any hard currency were forced to sell them to the government at this newly established unified official exchange rate. And Prime Minister of Romania said in Parliament today that this is the only way out of the crisis situation. Enterprises which have been forced to sell their currency to the government will provide the government with hard currency to buy fuel and energy resources for the winter. Everything has a price, including the transition to unconvertible money, which will cause more inflation and more price hikes, up to 100% on all products in Romania. And this cannot be compensated for fully just by wage increases. Gorbachev met a representative of the Italian Prime Minister today, who informed Gorbachev on the results of the NATO Rome session. Gorbachev highly appraised this meeting. According to Gorbachev, this was a major event in the development of European cooperation in the new epoch. President Gorbachev also met with the leaders of the National Association of Governors of the United States. These officials were here to study cooperation between possibilities for cooperation between the United States and the Soviet Union. Gorbachev highly evaluated the U.S. decision to provide humanitarian aid to the Soviet Union. Today in Brussels, a session of the European Community of Economic Ministers was started. And among other issues, the European Commission will look over the issue of credit help to the Soviet Union and Eastern Europe. At the same time in Brussels, there's a meeting of the Group of 24 Industrial Nations.